Morning, everyone. Welcome to the Environment and Community Services Committee meeting February. Tonight, the meeting will be audio recorded and those in attendance should refrain from making any defamatory statements. There are to be no other recordings of this meeting without prior authorisation of the committee. Just to note, I need to leave my phone on today, and if I do need to leave, I'll ask Councillor McPhee to step up. Thank you. Do you have any apologies?
Neil
Apologies.
received, Madam Chair. Neil received.
Yeah, thank you. Any declarations of interest?
Neil received.
Yeah. Public participation? Right. We have two. If I could call Oliver McCarthy here for DA 41. If you'd like to come up to the stand. Mr. McCarthy, you have 5 minutes. When 4 minutes is up, I'll give a little ding. Where's the ding? Is this the ding? There's the ding. Just to let you know, okay? And then please stay there in case councillors have any questions.
Yeah,
Councillors, thank you for the opportunity to speak this morning with respect to DA 41 2020. Takeaway food and drink premise public districts. In 2020, we attended a PDA meeting with council to discuss the proposed development before launching subject application. The development was originally proposed as a full-scale takeaway food and drink premise aimed at capturing the Newfoundland highway exposure and traffic movements, as well as stimulating growth for local businesses upon the completion of the bypass. The original design consisted of a freestanding 205 square metre food premise, the dual lane drive-through offering. At the time, we had a high level of commercial tenancy interest in the premise. Should we be able to obtain a favourable outcome on the development today, we hope to rekindle those discussions in due course. We believe the subject development will complement the service centre development application proposed for 1 Macquarie Street that is currently under assessment. Throughout the course of the planning process, we've addressed multiple council RFIs and significantly reduced the form and function of the proposed development. Council have directed the project team to address various planning considerations. Accordingly, the final design issued to council in May 2020 seems reduction side of 15 square metres, 205 square metres to 190, and a reduction in the capacity of the mature lane drive-through to a single lane offering. Previously, the council design committee provided the project group with an opportunity to address some design planning non-compliances for the site. We were provided to address these developments with clear, accurate, and realistic planning outcomes for the development. The project group was confident that council's concerns have been adequately addressed with various design solutions. In summary, the previous design compliances related to pedestrian and cycle access, no consideration of bike rack, physically constrained site, car parking deficit and vehicle movements operating dangerously within and without a site. The solutions presented to council to address these concerns included the inclusion of a separate pedestrian crossing from front of the development site to the front of the store. We added 5 new bricks to the front of the store. We reduced the constrained nature of the site by removing the dual lane drive-through and reducing the drive-through to a single lane. We reduced the store itself by 15 square metres to 190 square metres in size and amended the function of the loading bay with consideration to large vehicle movements. To address the car parking deficit, the store size was also reduced to address this item. The internal seating was reduced and the car parking was increased. Accordingly, the site is now compliant on the DCP car parking rate, offering 23 spaces. With the reduced store size, we were able to improve the movements of the delivery vehicle, improve safety as best we could. Additionally, we engaged with the traffic engineer, intersect traffic to prepare a delivery management plan for the site internal traffic management, relating to unloading and loading and heavy vehicle movements. In today's agenda, you will note that we still have some items that are deemed unacceptable planning outcomes for the development that have been noted in today's agenda. The first of which is the loading and unloading of the site is not designed to ensure that vehicles can move up in and out the site without conflicting with the movements of vehicles and pedestrians on the site. To address this concern, a delivery management plan is prepared by Intersect Traffic to identify the appropriate measures and procedures to improve the delivery and safety function of the site. The delivery management plan states that the delivery methods on the site are compliant and acceptable. The delivery management plan, deliveries associated with the subject development safely undertaken using a proposed accesses. The delivery management plan has included multiple procedural solutions to support the on-site delivery operations. These include delivering vehicles to notify the store of their approach 30 minutes prior to arrival, establish traffic cones on site to manage on-site delivery procedures, and the delivery movements are to be supported by on-site staff to manage on-site safety.
Thank you, Mr. McCarthy. Actually, run out of time. You got much more there?
Couple pieces. That's what it is.
Yeah. Councillor, would you like an extension? Councillor McCarthy, second, Councillor Flavin here.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, I'll put you.
No, that's all right. That's all fine. So we believe this is the items presented in the delivery management plan are that could be accepted by council. They're very reasonable and that have been supported by Interstate Traffic to improve on-site movements and on-site pedestrian safety. Second is that we put a zero site to the front of the store to improve on-site pedestrian safety, but also the inclusion of 5 bike racks and with the intent to produce better connectivity in and around the site. The third component is that there's insufficient provision of landscaping on the site. By increasing the car spaces that were required by council, we have fallen into a deficit on the landscaping. Alternative solution to this would be that we would be having to plant some additional trees, street trees in the business park to offset this. Alternatively, if we have 2 car parks in surplus, we would be willing to turn 2 of those car parks into additional landscaping. And then I'll skip across to the fifth component, the adverse impacts on streetscape and visual amenity of the northern precinct approach to Scone. The site is zoned light industrial, and if we think about the visual impacts of all the municipal uses in the light industrial zoning, takeaway food and drink premises could be considered to be one of the more visually appealing municipal uses. The building elevations and external renders were presented as part of the development application originally. While the scale of the development has reduced in size, the external treatments have not. We also would be happy to condition the inclusion of vertical landscaping on the Kelly Street side of the premise, and also landscaping, vertical climbing landscaping along the fence line to address this. And the final point here is that I think Paul's doubled up on a couple of components there, but I will address the limited off-street car parking. As a result of our design amendments, we have points circles on our car parking, offering 23 spaces for the required 21 spaces. As noted, to increase the on-site landscaping, we could turn off 2 of those car spaces, maintain car parking compliance, and increase our landscaping, each sort of landscaping.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions from council? From Mr. McCarthy? No, thank you. A second public participation will be from David Casson on development application 55/2020. Guidance, please.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to come on and just have a few words. I haven't made a detailed preparation. I think the report is covers most of the issues. This is a modification of the government that was approved back in 2020. Please, I think we all agree that this goes ahead, but as ahead, we do certainly be a much considerable improvement in the streetscape of Kelly Street. The application is looking to modify the layout of rooms, increasing the number of rooms from 4 to 1. Provide 3 accessible rooms from ground floor, the living space lift, and installation of a small portiere with accessible downstairs. Increasing the number of accessible car parking spaces from 2 to 3, which has also been an issue with car parking. Obviously, the accessible spaces are larger than the normal ones, so we move the space because of that. Placing the link to the Liverpool Street out placing walls for a roof structure and crossing the ordinary accessible accommodation, signage to be incorporated, structure, new changes to the Kelly Street facade, new location for the entrance, new acceptable at Kelly Street, Street, following the building code of Australia review the document. Impact replacing tire with structure and shedding. At the very least, there will be shedding, maybe a chance that get around actual roof structure. So it's in terms of aesthetic, there will be no change, shedding change, structural points, and maybe a position or that actually place along the roof. Correction of storage of the car parking area. This is just a the I guess the issue, major additional incentives that referring to contribution for car parking space, which would down 2 spaces at $10,000 each. The assessment indicates that the development has a shortfall of 9 spaces. I guess we did well enough to function, but when the original application was assessed, the car spaces which were attributable to the cafe at the time, which was 10. There was a commentary indicating that the majority of those attending the cafe would be occupants of the apartments or people who've already got parking on the main street. So those 10 spaces in the original assessment didn't come into play. This assessment, they included that. So that's the 19. So if you put the same approach, the deficit is still a deficit that will be 9. Just the point. I think that obviously understanding the contribution of substantial amounts as a consistent approach that councils have in the past. Obviously, generally speaking, there can be a deficit at times with the commercial properties in scale. Very have a combined car parking ratio similar. Our application doesn't have a combined car parking ratio. There's a comment, this is common. Both accounting similar conditions, that's fine. Otherwise, if there's some reduction in 20,000,
Thank you, Dave. Councillors, any questions for Mr. Casson? Councillor Claren?
Madam Chair, how many rooms are there and how many car parks are there?
There's 41 rooms proposing up. That was 40. And we went down to the
How many car spaces?
32.
32. Okay. What's the oldest public hotel?
The oldest part was heritage listed hotel.
What are the oldest part?
Oh, I'm sorry, I wouldn't have that.
The Yeah, it's interesting because in this proposal, they said it was 1930s, but actually the front part was in the 1800s. So is there a heritage report that's associated with this?
Through you, Madam Chair, my understanding it's 1930s, not 1800s, that building.
Yeah.
There was a heritage assessment,
Yeah.
right, there was a heritage assessment undertaken with the original DA.
And will the stairs now remain in place? Internal stairs, no, are they gone already?
This was a matter that was considered in the first application. So there's no change from that point of view. The stairs were removed in the first application. This application was made.
Right, so I can't see any consideration for what the internal heritage aspects were. I can see here the heritage advisors comments say that they really don't have the information to make an assessment. And I know that it says that these issues are deemed unwarranted or unnecessary now. In what way are they unwarranted and unnecessary? Like usually we have a breakdown of what the concern is. That's the truth.
Through you, Madam Chair, a lot of these issues have already been dealt with as part of the original application that was approved by council.
How were they dealt with?
They were assessed at that time and were approved. Those modifications to the building were approved at that time as part of that original consent. So this is a modification to add another room. And obviously some other internal changes as well that's outlined in the report.
So essentially the stairs have already been gone and the heritage hasn't been preserved inside. Is that approved?
That's correct, yeah,
It was approved at the time.
correct.
Councillor?
Through you, Madam Chair, sorry. Just another question. You referenced that the rooms that work in businesses, it's going to have adequate car parking. But I'm just wondering, in terms of comparing apples to apples, how many accommodation facilities don't meet the requirement of car parks?
Through you, Madam Chair, I don't have that information here. We'd have to look into that.
I mean, it's different if it's a hairdressers or something like that, but if it's an accommodation, you know, I'd be interested to know if any other accommodation doesn't meet that requirement.
Councillor Campbell?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you to David for your presentation, very comprehensive. Sorry. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, David, for your presentation. Look, just further to the structural component of the hotel. It has been assessed as structurally correct. And we'll take these changes without any structural defect. Is that correct?
Yes, certainly. Retail structural engineering will provide by doing I guess the latter we would something recharge probably go. They've been taken out all with it. Not necessarily. Understanding changes, no change to the show. Else structurally you need to see why the post placed.
Councillor McFadden?
For landlords today. Just another question, should this go through, when do you think we can start thinking renovating it? That's
Look, I don't really have a specific time from them, but the owners, they are happy to see. They've engaged an architect this time to lay the plans and as opposed to effectively department that did the original. I believe that what we're looking at was much better proposal overall in terms of quality. So the architect is certainly brought the residents. I think we will sign so if that can get consent.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the business items. We've got a fairly comprehensive information already provided, so if it's already in there, we probably don't need to ask the director, but if you need further clarification, please let me know. Okay, so development application number 137, 2022 Childcare Centre at 16 Waverley Street. Recommendation is the council approve. The development application for a childcare centre demolish of an existing building and subdivision at 116 Waverley Street, Scone, subject to the conditions of consent in attachment 1. Councillor Campbell, second Councillor McPhee. Question.
Yeah,
Councillor Campbell.
thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, look, I think this is going to go ahead. I think it's very important because this childcare centre just seems to be something that's very much needed in each town, including Marywall. But I just have one question regarding the existing building. Was it a childcare centre or was it just a dwelling? That's why I'm not familiar with the actual location. But, someone could be in that place.
Through you, Madam Chair, we might see if we can get the plan up on the screen.
Through you, Madam Chair, it needs to be where the nuns lived.
Yeah, so it's my understanding it was a convent. So it's next to St Mary's Primary School. So we can see it on the screen up there. Just the block showing the St Mary's Primary School with the proposed childcare centre. That's right. So that's going just below where your arrow is. Yep, in that area there. That's right. On Waverley Street.
Yeah, no, just to be clear, but it wasn't actually a childcare. There wasn't a childcare facility at that time. Was it not a dwelling? Is that right?
No, it was never a childcare centre.
Okay, that's fine. Some of the concerns, I think, Madam Chair, really regarding being on the side of school. Personally, I think it's a very good location. Noise and that sort of thing. I'm just wondering really whether those have been investigated, because it's alongside an existing school where there's a lot of school kids that play and make all sorts of noises, but not excessive because they're kids. That has been addressed, hasn't it?
Yes, it has, Madam Chair.
Further questions? All those in favour? Against? Carried. Page 84. So the development application, take away food premises, and recommendation is the council refuse development application for a takeaway food and drink premises at 2 McIver Street, Scone, the reasons in attachment 1. Is everyone aware of those reasons? Yeah. Okay. Can we have a mover? Move Councillor McPhee. Second. Councillor Campbell. Any discussion?
It's previous Chair, Madam Chair. Mr. Pringle, could you just maybe elaborate on what we've heard today from our public participators, just to clarify anything that's
You, Madam Chair, I guess looking at our assessment, it appears that it's essentially overdevelopment of the site. The site doesn't appear to be large enough to accommodate this proposed development. I agree with the applicant's comments that there's an additional 2 parking spaces than what is required. It does meet the parking requirements. However, there's issues with loading and unloading, trucks having to reverse across areas used by pedestrians and with other customer vehicles manoeuvring and those sorts of things. There's a lack of landscaping on the property. We're concerned about the impacts that will have on the, I guess, the entrance to Scone at the northern end, the visual appearance. I note that the tables and chairs have been removed from inside the building. However, there's still quite a bit of space there. They could easily be reinstalled at some point down the track, so which would trigger additional parking demand. It is would be the first food and drink premises on the highway at the northern end of Scone, so we have concerns that there would be a lot of traffic visiting this location. So there'd be quite a high demand for parking. There's no accommodation for long vehicles. So vehicles towing caravans, even small trucks pulling up, essentially they would have to park out on the street. So we suspect there'll be high usage of this premises, which is fine, but obviously that has impacts. And we just, as I said at the start, I think we feel that this is possibly overdevelopment of the site.
Through you, Madam Chair. In terms of the truck access, I mean, most takeaway type facilities, when you're looking particularly urban areas, are far more constrained than this. And the trucks are able to, deliver without having open access to the person. They're quite skilled doing in much more confined spaces, much busier areas. So I'm just wondering what litmus test we're using here.
Through you, Madam Chair, the concern is, as I said, the vehicles are having to reverse, probably a busy pedestrian area. So there's potential conflict at that point. There is a delivery management plan that's been submitted. It talks about deliveries occurring, between I think it's 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. Our experience is that often that's a busy time for these premises. We have a lot of customers coming in for breakfast and so forth. So there's that potential for that conflict. And as I said, where the trucks are turning, it's near the entrance to the store.
Through you, Madam Chair, I'm just trying to weigh out that we're looking at accommodation price. It's got 41 rentals, only 32 car spaces, and that's recommended for approval. We're looking at Pierce, which is a takeaway store, which does comply with the car spaces. We're looking at the other one where they're going to be taking out 2 trees. It's no landscaping. We're looking at this one where we're replacing landscaping. It just seems, we're in a light industrial area with one, and it just seems like there's more compliance required there.
Yes,
Just take that as a statement.
yeah, thanks, Matt. Any further? No, any further questions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm not convinced that this development really is fitting for this particular place. And there would be a lot of trucks, etc., coming there. If I recall correctly, that the roundabout has been modified on, I think, the roundabout did not have to be modified. Is that correct?
That's correct, through you, Madam Chair. The roundabout doesn't need to be modified for this proposal.
Okay.
Through you, Madam Chair, just to clarify, has the petrol station been approved to go inside it?
Through you, Madam Chair, the service station was across the road only on the corner block, and that did require the roundabout to be modified. However, we know there is another application we're currently assessing for a highway service centre on that corner.
Councillor McFay.
I find it a real shame because there has actually really good merit, but this just feels like the whole thing is pretty big for the actual area, which is causing a lot of reasons. When we get back to state, there are trucks that deliver throughout the city and the town. But also more places away from the entrance. I don't think that's one that happens. It might be involved in basically. So I just don't feel comfortable doing it because it's first of all the landscape. But I don't quite know how to resolve it because it's a good idea, but it just seems like the whole thing is just too much.
Thank you. No. All those in favour? Councillor Campbell and Councillor Fay against. Councillor Fay. Against.
You're against. Sorry, you're against the recommendation.
Yeah.
You would like to vote?
This one's
No, it's not even.
not on the committee.
There's only the other committee which you that it doesn't.
So, Mr. Mayor, you have to make the passing statement. If you choose.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wasn't going to say anything about it, but great idea. If they could just fix those issues up there, you can't have truck pedestrian crossings along for the recommendation.
The recommendation stand. Page 146. It's the paper anymore. And modification of development consent for commercial alteration additions, service apartments and cafe. And the recommendation is the council modify development consent number 55/2020 for commercial alterations and additions, service apartments and a cafe at 180 Keller Street, Scone, subject to the conditions of consent in attachment one. Have a move, Councillor McPhee, second Councillor Campbell. Any questions, discussion, Councillor McPhee? I'll start yesterday. Any further discussion?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I need to reiterate those comments. At this stage, because it's been, when we came to Merriwood in 1962 and came to Scone, we had this became Scone quite often. It was a different place to what it is today. And to see it deteriorate for whatever reason, not the issue, but to see it wanting to be redeveloped, I think is going to be great for Scone and for the surrounding district. When there's events at Scone and accommodation is required, it's still out to the outlying towns will also benefit. So I think it's a great modification, and certainly I support it.
Thank you, Councillor Campbell. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Page 204. Development application number 145/2022, dwelling rural workers dwelling and swimming pool. The council approved development application for a dwelling, rural workers dwelling and swimming pool, 1045 Bunham Road, Upper Dartbrook, subject to conditions of consent in attachment one. We'll have a move over Councillor McPhee, second Councillor Campbell. Any discussion? Yes, Councillor
Yeah,
Campbell.
look, I just think that these are great things because people coming in want to develop the area. It will provide employment and also the fact that it's planning development. I think these are great things. They're prepared to spend that money for whatever they're going to do, and also it's going to just benefit the district and our shire. So I'm fully behind it. Thank you.
Any further? All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. That